So today is the 3rd of March 2026, and I want to talk about a dream that I had last night. So I had a dream that all of this stuff going on with Israel, that in the dream I was shown like this biblical photo of these two men walking out of like Jerusalem, like the wreckage of Jerusalem. It's just flattened to the ground and these two men walk out. And I remember that from you know, Bible studies and things when I was a kid. And and I had a dream that what Israel is doing becomes absolutely insane, bombing all these different countries, just going for it. So all of the stories they've given, for example, about why they bombed Iran, are all shown to be absolutely nothing to do with what they're doing. They just, it's like they're in a panic and they just gonna bomb as much as they can. And it affects the entire world, every single population. And there's all these world leaders talking about it and saying it's absolutely untrue. There's no weapons of destruction there. You are refusing these people with a population, 100 times the size of yours, nuclear power plants for their population, which you in your own countries have established, especially in the States, have established that it's the only viable way forward as far as power goes. Good man, he's my helper. And you're refusing them to even do that for their people. So that in itself is a crime. And anyway, there's all these things, but they just go mad crazy. And in my dream, it was like a leader of a country that we've been educated that is our enemy in the West, and I can't picture who it was, but it's kind of like, if you imagine Putin, but it wasn't Putin, it was someone else, it was some country that we don't normally associate with helping the global people. And it's like on that show Yellowstone, where they all get in the room and the bad guys are so bad and they're killing people and stuff, and they just go, how are we going to deal with it? And they can't come up with these ways, and this one guy goes, you know what, we're just going to have to kill them ourselves, just going to have to kill them. And everyone goes, well, how are we going to do that? He goes, you know what, I'll do it myself. It's almost like that. And it's like the guys went, you know what, this stops now, and just presses a button, and I don't know if it's a nuclear bomb, but it's a huge bomb, and it just, within an instant, flattens Israel. Takes out the Gaza too, but I remember other parts of the dream, they were talking to me about the people in Gaza, that they're dying anyway, they're dying of starvation, of disease, and that it's probably kinder at this point to give them release. So it's not deemed as cannon fodder or collateral damage. It's deemed as an act of mercy from where the Israelis have got them to. And so all these other countries, they're all talking, and and says, if I do this there, it's big, it could be world war, like almost like it's an atom bomb or something. And the other ones are going, we won't retaliate, we agree. And they all vow to support that move, because there is nothing else they can do to stop this madness. And the United States isn't free on this. They are seen as the instigators and as owned by Israel and as quite demonic. And it's almost like a UN, but a UN of other countries. And yeah, so this guy goes, oh, you know what, it stops now, because they just can't come to these other things, and the whole world is affected, the whole world's falling over. And this guy just goes up and goes, you know what, and bang, and does it. And it obliterates Israel. And then all the wars stop. United States is gone, mainly because they were sheltered by Israel before, or run by Israel, or like as part of this, without Israel there, their top end falls, and all of their government falls, and the rest of the countries all go back to learning that we care about each other as a species, and we care about the animals, and all the fighting stops. Weird dream. There's still chaos, there's still like trauma in the world, and the out throw of all this nuclear in the air makes huge difficulties around the world, but it was either obliterate them or they're going to obliterate the rest of the world. Actually, I've just sort of had a recall then. It's almost like they send a normal bomb that bombs their nuclear bombs. So they actually get killed by their own nuclear bomb. And then I was shown, you know, it took Hitler to do this the last time, to teach the world to be human and have empathy again, and this is where this ends. So it's kind of like, you know, whatever rock bottom is, your rock bottom, you know, and within these powers, there's like Russia and there's China. Okay, so I was saying, sorry, we ran out of film. We ran out of storage space. So there was Russia and China as the two big main ones, and I think the East kind of conglomerated into a body of its own, with them all looking forward. Anyway, so I'm trying to recall all of this. So these bodies became the superpowers, but they didn't enslave the nations. They had like this kind of new UN type thing that was overseen by Russia and China and places like that, where they established that this kind of corruption can never ever happen again, and that was their whole goal. And what they were saying is like, this is what we've actually been saying all along, but you're also mesmerized by your internet and your videos and things, and your governments, and with AI and everything, we can't tell what's truth and what's not. And so actually this was the intention all the time, is to actually stop this corruption, stop this oligarchy, and to feed the poor, and to rejuvenate all of these countries. So it's like all the countries join in and rejuvenate a country. And I just saw that, I saw like kids, instead of going to the army, they went into Peace Corps, where they went and learned how to grow things and how to build and things like that, almost like an apprenticeship in these countries that was supported by this whole big entity. And I also just remembered that when they were talking about the nuclear power, that they were saying that it was all a lie, that the nuclear power they have is to develop a nuclear power station, and it cannot, there is no way that it could be used to make weaponry. And so that was a big point, that all these leaders, you know, in the whatever this room was, were having this big arguments. I think it was like almost the normal UN before this group set up and pulled away from the players in the game. So I'm hoping this makes sense. So what happened from there is that we changed as people. We saw humans as a species. People understood animals as a species. They understood trees. They understood mitochondria, because, you know, when all the trees are destroyed by things like these chemicals, you understand the value they had and the importance to the ecostructure. And I remember seeing that there's all this fallout. There's, you know, there was like seismic waves across the world. You know, they were talking about in the Bible how it says, you know, the world will move on its axis and stuff like that. But anyway, they were talking about this, and then they were saying that, you know, this causes like water in a bathtub. I'm sort of showing all that in this big shake up and these changes, but mainly it was the chemicals in the air and the dust that went around the world that changed things. And I remember seeing it was like mushrooms. Like mushrooms were being grown everywhere. And so what they'd learned from like Chernobyl and things like that, and all of these real scientists and things came together, and they learned this, and there were just mushrooms everywhere, and this mitochondria would just go and basically eat up these toxins in communities and things like that, and the whole world shared resources. So it wasn't just like, you know, America got to have the mushrooms. It was like everything was shared out by this union of races and countries and leaders, and it was really fair. And you know, I sort of saw that we didn't have internet or anything like that, and I'm not sure if we even had power, but we went back to living in a world that was about growing food and about sharing services with neighbours. So for example, you know, I'm a dog groomer, I can swap that for she's growing potatoes, I need potatoes, and sort of back to that world again where everybody was kindly and everybody understood the notion of like a tithe, of like, you know, sharing it with the people that don't have any, because the only way to stop people breaking in and stealing what other people had was to share it all out. And that was the philosophy behind all of this thing, and it stopped all of this violence and things. And you know, the whole world just kind of volunteered their time. Money just didn't become an issue anymore. It was like, we'll just turn the power on, and the people that worked that, you know, and then the vegetables would come, and, you know, everyone just, it was pretty amazing. It was pretty scary, and it was pretty hard, but it was pretty amazing. And yeah, we healed the world. So and I think I recall a conversation somewhere. I don't know whether I overheard it in the dream, or whether it was said to me, or whether it was said in one of those big meetings they had. But it was like, you know, this wake-up call is either going to have to come from extraterrestrials who have vowed that they will not allow us to destroy the earth, and they actually intercept. I'm not sure if they were in that meeting or not. I'm not sure if they were the ones that pressed the button and created the thing that set off Israel's own nuclears. I'm not sure. It was like a fast moving dream that seemed to last for 3 years. And but it was either going to have to come from external intervention, or from the nations coming together, but it was the only thing that could make the change. And yeah, it's a pretty amazing dream, man. Just blew my mind. So, you know, I don't know if it's PTSD or whether it's got some elements to it, because I've had this before. I had them before the COVID and all that sort of stuff. So I don't know. But I thought this time I'd better record it and date it. So it's the 3rd of March 2025, and it's like 9 p.m. now. And yeah, I just wanted to record that dream that I had. Alright, thanks for listening.